Have you ever just stopped and wondered if you could create an entire world, one filled with characters who have real hopes and fears, just by typing a few sentences? Well, today we're diving deep into exactly that, how a simple text prompt can become the spark for some absolutely incredible creativity. So let's start with a really big question, a provocative one. Can a simple prompt actually create a soul? I mean, can it give an inanimate object a personality so distinct, so real, that we actually start to feel something for it? That's what we're here to explore. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll meet our protagonist. Then we'll kind of dissect the anatomy of how that character was even built. From there, we'll assemble an entire cast, give them all a voice, and then finally, we'll look at how you can use AI as your own creative co-pilot. All right, let's get right into it. Section 1. Meet your protagonist. And believe it or not, our whole story kicks off with a very, very worried water bottle. Okay, so this block of text right here, this is the entire blueprint for our main character. This isn't just a description, it's really the DNA of a personality. You could think of it as the instruction manual given to an AI to create not just an image, but an actual feeling. So how exactly does a bunch of text translate into a character we can almost, relate to? Well, that brings us to section 2, the anatomy of a character, or how words literally become personality. The key technique at play here is the use of what we're going to call emotional descriptors. These are the very specific words and phrases you choose to tell the AI not what to see, but what to feel. It's the huge difference between just saying a bottle and saying a lonely, anxious bottle. So let's break down the prompt for our water bottle. See, the creator didn't just say, make it sad. No, they got specific. They said, big expressive eyes, worried eyebrows, and a tight mouth. They even gave it an action, gesturing as if explaining something serious. Every single phrase is like a brushstroke, painting this incredibly detailed picture of anxiety and, well, earnestness. Now, once you have a protagonist, you can build a whole universe around them. So let's move on to section 3 and see how this all comes together, assembling the cast. This is where we ask the AI to create some friends and maybe even some foes for our lonely little bottle. So every good protagonist needs a foil, right? Someone to contrast with, to highlight their own traits. And first up, we meet the cozy glass tumbler. Just notice the language here. Round, innocent eyes, soft smile, cozy lighting. It immediately feels so gentle. But what's really clever, what's really genius, is that last descriptor, calm but slightly neglected. That one little phrase adds this whole layer of quiet melancholy, which makes the character so much more complex and interesting. And from that cozy melancholy, we're going to pivot to pure chaos. Meet the nervous ice cube, a character basically defined by its constant shivering panic. This prompt is just fantastic because it uses physical actions to define an emotion. You've got shivering eyes, chattering teeth, and this one is just brilliant, hugging itself. You don't just understand that the ice cube is scared, you can actually see its fear. It's all right there. Okay, now for a complete change of pace. Let's introduce a potential antagonist, a character really designed to be in charge, the authoritative water tap. This one brilliantly illustrates how your word choice can create a sense of power. The language becomes mechanical, almost commanding, a camera-like objective lens, a firm mouth, robotic arms. This builds a character that feels way less emotional and more like a gatekeeper, a real force of nature in this little world. And finally, to balance out all that worry and authority, let's bring in some pure, unfiltered joy. Say hello to the cheerful juice box. I mean, everything about this prompt is just designed to make you smile. The straw like a funky hairstyle, that is such a playful, perfect detail. And when you pair that with a big smile and a fun vibe, you create the perfect emotional counterweight for our worried water bottle. It just rounds out the cast perfectly. So now we have a full cast. Each one has a personality that's been crafted from these carefully chosen words. But are they just silent props? Oh, not at all. Let's move to section 4, giving characters a voice. Remember our worried little water bottle? Well, now we give it a voice. And in this example, the AI even generated dialogue in another language. But that feeling is totally universal. It's complaining. It's worried about being half empty. It feels misunderstood. Its voice is a perfect extension of the personality that was built in that very first prompt. And for pure drama, look no further than the Ice Cube. I'm melting! Someone save me! This isn't just dialogue, you guys, it's a cry for help. It's the voice of a character whose core trait is existential fear. And now that fear's screaming to be heard, directly reflecting those shivering and nervous descriptors from its prompt. So here's the crucial point. This is so much more than just a fun experiment. This is a new way to create. And that brings us to our final section, the AI co-creator, and what all of this really means for your own ideas. What we've just seen today is this powerful, repeatable creative process that you can actually use. It really boils down to 3 simple steps. 1, define a core character using those rich emotional descriptors. 2, expand the world by creating characters that contrast or complement your first one. This is so key for creating drama and depth. And then 3, give them a voice that's a true extension of those initial traits. It's a framework for turning a simple idea into a rich narrative. And all of this leads us to one final thought. We've seen a simple prompt breathe life and personality into everyday objects. We've seen them talk, and we've seen them feel. So the only question left is, what stories are hiding in the objects all around you?